Drukhari Reapers Wages. Now, if you enjoyed Legolas and Gimli's little side hustle of who killed most, well, you're going to love this detachment between Drukhari and Harlequins. Who is killing more? Find out in this detachment overview, as it's a unique way to bring both forces together. And we're going to be going over the detachment, the enhancements, and also the stratagems for Drukhari and Harlequins. Coming up is going to be an overview of the brand new detachment that Games Workshop have been releasing for Warhammer 40,000. We're going to look at whether this detachment is going to be a competitive choice, whether it's going to be one that's more flavorful and narrative, and maybe something that you might want to consider trying yourself, or alternatively, what you need to know and look out for if you're going to be playing against some of these new detachments. Now, to take things a little bit further on our members page, and if you want to become a YouTube member, the link's going to be in the description. You are going to get a list for this detachment, something that's super competitive, super flavorful, and we're going to make the most of what we can do with this detachment. Now, as we always say, we will try and help you use the models that you own, and we're going to give you some top combos that you can introduce into your list to really make the most of them. Now, not only that, but you're also going to get loads of additional members content, whether it's our live members lounge where you can get your questions answered, or even dictate our games that we play on streams on Fridays. And on our masterclass series, we go one step further. We show you the list, we show you how to deploy it, and we also show you some advanced tactics. And the best thing about that is that you're going to understand exactly how every single faction plays in the game of Warhammer 40,000, so you don't get caught out at the tabletop. We're all about helping you feel like you're able to compete at the table, and knowing all that information is going to be one of those steps to ensure that you don't get gotcha momented. So enjoy this detachment overview, and we really hope and look forward to your feedback and some of the best ways to play this detachment.
It's time to take a look at the new Drukhari detachment, the Reaper's Wager, where we can join with Harlequins in this detachment. So this is going to be our Legolas and Gimli detachment, where we're going to be fighting together and we're going to be placing wagers on what we kill throughout the game. But Michael, we're going to do an overview of this detachment now, aren't we? So we're going to take a look at the stratagems, the enhancements, some combos as well. Where should we start with this detachment overview?
Well, first off, thank you to Games Workshop for providing some preview access so that we can create this content for you. The Harlequins and the Drukhari in this detachment are competing. They have a wager going on, and it's called Callous Competition. Okay. And at the start of the game, the Drukhari forces count as being winning the wager.
Yes!
If a Drukhari unit destroys an enemy unit, then the Drukhari are winning the wager. If a Harlequin unit destroys an enemy unit, then the Harlequins are now winning the wager.
Okay, so like whoever's just killed a unit, they've just won the wager in that sense, and it's just constantly tipping the balance of the scales.
Exactly. As a clarification, only one person can be winning the wager at any one time, or rather only one faction can be winning the wager at any one time. If someone is losing the wager, they get reroll ones to hit and wound.
Okay.
Which is quite nice. So essentially, you start off with all your quins getting reroll ones to hit and wound.
Okay, I mean, that's an interesting thought. I mean, Harlequins are obviously in the Eldari Codex, so their units, they're quite limited on what sort of units you can take, but they are quite melee orientated, very fast. They do have some good units. The troops are very good. They do get +1 to wound on the charge, I believe, which is really nice. Yeah. So combo that with reroll ones to hit and wound. It's a good little combo to get there.
It is, yeah. It gives you a lot more efficiency out of the Harlequins. Obviously, Drukhari get the tokens, pain tokens, so they can reroll hits and wounds anyway. So it's slightly less impactful for them. But of course, it depends on how many pain tokens you actually have. So whether you want to flip-flop or not, it's up to you.
Well, this is what I was going to say. So we do, as Drukhari, still get pain tokens, and we still have that economy going on throughout the game. So it's going to be...
I like it.
Economy, exactly, yeah. Pain tokens are our economy, all right? And we're going to be rich by the end of the game. But at the end of it, I think with this, it's going to be interesting to see how that determines the gameplay or the game style for the Drukhari army. Because normally in Drukhari indexes detachments, it's very dependent on the pain tokens. But is it going to be in an army where you've only got 1,000 points? Maybe, maybe not.
We shall see.
We shall see. Is there anything else we get for this detachment rule?
No, nothing else from the army rule, the detachment rule that is. However, Harlequins can't be Warlord.
Okay.
It's a very simple one. You wouldn't want them to be anyway. No. Because you want an Archon to be a Warlord.
Yeah, and we're winning the wager.
And you're winning the wager.
Yeah. So we are the warlords here, right? They're just tagging along.
Yeah, sure.
All right, interesting. So I'm really excited for this detachment, actually. I think out of all the detachments so far, this one's piqued my interest just from the detachment rule because it's a very unique style and just very fun in general. But let's go on to enhancements. Let's see what we get here. So what's the first enhancement?
First one is Arch Raider. So this can be a Drukhari or Harlequin model. And if the bearer's unit starts in a dedicated transport, then that transport gets Scouts 9.
Ooh, interesting. I mean, you might have a different opinion here, but I think this might work better on a Harlequin model, because if you are starting in that, losing in the wager, then giving that unit the ability to get up, maybe kill something, turn the tides, then a Drukhari come in and constantly tip the scales constantly, doing it that way.
Yeah.
Do you think that's how it would work, or would you see it differently?
I think, and we'll see a list later on that we've gone into, but this potentially works well on an Archon.
Okay.
With the 10 incubi, that brick. Obviously, you could lead 5, but either way, you're going to be in a dedicated transport with the Venoms or the Raiders. Raider. The only reason for this is because there's another very good enhancement that will help Harlequins get up the board. But before we jump straight into that one, we've got Reaper's Cowl next, and this is on any Drukhari or Harlequin model. The bearer's unit gains Deep Strike, and on the turn that it arrives, if it's losing the wager, it can reroll charge rolls.
Okay. Deep Strike with a 9-inch charge re-rolling isn't great. I mean,
no.
But where else are we going to see this come into
Rapid Ingress.
As
soon as Rapid Ingress gets involved, this is a very interesting enhancement to have.
Definitely.
10 troops with a character of your choice, probably a troop master for dev wounds when you get into combat, is going to be great being able to Rapid Ingress and then move forward and charge something. There is a stratagem for advance and charge.
Right, okay.
So being able to Rapid Ingress a full troop unit, out of line of sight potentially, and you wouldn't even have to be that far away because you're so fast with the advance and charge, you can then commit this full unit to just kill stuff.
That's actually got me really excited.
So I think that's probably where you'll see that.
Yeah.
So the next one is Reaper's Cowl. I did say Reaper's Cowl earlier. It's where Walker is the Deep Strike,
right?
Okay, not Reaper's Cowl.
Yeah.
But Reaper's Cowl is the one that allows us to get those Harlequins up close and personal, because it gives the bearer's unit, and it only goes on a Harlequin model, by the way. The bearer's unit gets stealth and infiltrators.
Cool. We don't need scout on that. Then I see your point. I take what I said back on the first enhancement. Get those Harlequins right into combat to begin with. This is fantastic.
Yes, really good. Again, you could take a max unit of troop, so the 12, I think it is, plus the troop master, infiltrate them somewhere on the board. Obviously, with Drukhari, you have access to mandrakes, so you can kind of play a game of where are the Harlequins going to go, use the mandrakes to screen that area of the board, and then drop those Harlequins down there. And again, you've got an advance and charge strat. You can get in straight away and switch the wager if you so desire.
Well, this is the detachment of games, and I am so excited to use that. I mean, yeah, like you said, infiltrating 10 dudes and literally just running at your opponent as well with a potential advance and charge. I'm so excited for this, dude. Just tell me the next one. I'm so excited.
So the next one is a bit less exciting, I'm afraid.
Oh.
It's quite cool. So it's the Conductor of Torment. It's Drukhari only. But in your command phase, you can choose to do one of the following. You can either gain a pain token, and your Drukhari are now winning the wager, or you can discard a pain token, and now the Drukhari are losing the wager.
And is this once per game, or
no? Every command phase. You can choose, on command flip who's winning or losing the wager. So if you're worried about turn one not having the rerolls, you could give up a pain token.
Yeah, or just gain one.
Yeah,
I actually really like this one. I mean, like you said, it's not as flashy as the other ones, but I actually think I probably would put this in my list just for the ability to command my resources a bit better, and then also determine which faction is going to be losing or winning. And to be honest, Drukhari will always be winning.
Of course.
Yeah.
So for me, the only issue is that the other three are so good that it's difficult to justify this one.
Spoiled for choice.
You're spoiled for choice. Look, Scouts 9 on a transport unit, amazing. You can deploy out in the open, jump into a building. Infiltrate and stealth on a full unit, amazing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you've got the Deep Strike. So potentially you'd look at dropping the Deep Strike for the other one, but I think the Rapid Ingress potential is so good.
it's hard to justify the
so
flip-flopping
yeah.
of the.
Now you said that, I got so excited. I think, but there's so many good enhancements there. I think this genuinely just has such a fun play style. But there's some really devastating moves you can pull off with just some enhancements.
Yes.
But let's go into some stratagems. Then we can look at some overall thoughts of this detachment.
Yeah.
What is the first one?
The first one is Malicious Frenzy, 1 CP, shooting or fight phase. Probably a stratagem that everybody would like to have available to them. So you can pick a Harlequins or Drukhari unit, and you can select either lethal hits or sustained hits, and you get it for the rest of the phase for all your attacks.
Whoa, that's amazing. For 1 CP?
1 CP, just have lethal or sustained on a unit. Very good.
This is like you said, this is, if you could cherry pick any detachment and then just go whatever stratagems you want, every single person I think would put this stratagem in there just to give your army access to it.
Yeah, on demand, lethal or sustained. So what do you think is a great unit for sustained?
Incubi. Incubi with damage 2, sustained, pain token, reroll hits. It's pretty good.
I mean, even lethals against like some of the vehicles that can be a bit of a struggle in combat for some of these armies. Your Harlequins, lethals is still going to be great, right? And sustained obviously is going to be fantastic as well when you're going into some of those bigger units just to get more and more hits in.
Well, if you've got Drazar in the unit as well, he gives you +1 to wound.
Yeah.
So now you've got all these attacks, 30 attacks with 10 incubi. Then you can reroll all hits, make sure you get as many hits as possible, fish for sustained, and then just go for that +1 to wound with the amount of attacks you've just got at damage 2.
Yeah.
And the extra AP as well from the pain token. It's really good.
Okay, next we have Fateful Roll, as in a roll that someone has rather than a dice roll.
Oh, right. So the roly-poly in the around a battlefield.
No.
Oh.
1 CP in the fight phase. One of your units can fight on death on a 4+.
Okay.
If their side is losing the wager, it's on a 3-up.
It's a nice to have in the pocket. I think if you can ever get fight on death on a 4-up, and there's always going to be a way to boost it to 3-up, I think, pretty much on all stratagems across the game.
Yeah.
It's nice to have.
This is very good on an army like this because your models are so susceptible to being killed by like a single model unit.
Yes.
If somebody sends in, let's say, a Space Marine captain on their own, they're going to pick up a unit of incubi.
Yeah.
So now we have a 50% chance that the incubi, each incubi model will get to fight, and you'll probably kill him back.
Probably, yeah. On the hit back, definitely.
Which I think is very, very annoying for an opponent to have to now deal with this because they're already good trading pieces on the charge. So now when we charge you, we go, okay, you could potentially just kill me back here.
Well, don't forget as well with pain tokens, you play them at the start of a phase. So that's a double, like, well, if you do this, I'm now fighting on death with a reroll hits and extra AP.
Yeah.
So there's like even more incentive there. I think that combos really nicely with pain tokens, actually. So Drukhari models, this is going to work really well on them.
1 CP for Murderer's Circus is the next one.
That's a great name.
Yep, these all have great names.
Yeah.
So fight phase, you can make a Drukhari or Harlequins unit -1 to hit.
Great. This is a really good stratagem. I mean, this is pretty much what you'd expect all Eldar armies to probably have in some way, shape or form. But it's good that we've got this in this detachment.
Next then we've got Shorten the Odds. So and we're not talking about Jake here. So for 1 CP, after a Harlequins or Drukhari unit has made an advance move, you can now allow them to shoot and charge later in the turn.
Okay, so you've got advanced shoot and charge.
Exactly.
For 1 CP.
Yes, but what I like is it's once the unit's made the advance move. So you can see what you roll and then give them it.
Yeah, I've seen this in the Blood Angels detachment as well. It's nice when you actually get to see what you roll first and then play the stratagem because then it doesn't feel like you've wasted a CP on something that's not even going to affect the game. Yeah. You could just roll a 1 and go, they'll just sit behind a wall and just won't do anything this turn.
Yeah. Exactly. So this is the advance and charge stratagem. It's very, very useful in an army like this. It's fast. It's going to get 3 inches of extra movement anyway because you're going to be jumping out of transports, so it can reach all sorts of places on the tabletop. And it's just great to have this on things like Incubi with advance and charge is awesome. Scintillating Tempo is this one. For 1 command point in your movement phase, you can use it in the charge phase as well. When a Harlequins or Drukhari unit starts a move, advance or fallback move, or is set up on the battlefield, or in the charge phase, you declare a charge with them. Until the end of the turn, they cannot be overwatched.
This is incredible. If you combo this as well with the advance and charge, you can advance and charge, not be overwatched.
and you can just get the targets you want without, especially with the rise of Infernus Marines. This is going to be absolutely amazing.
Yeah. No Overwatch against these units is immense. You can advance and charge. If there's a wall, then obviously you can take advantage of the wall being there to stop being shot. But as soon as you need to get out into the open and your opponent sets up that Overwatch, you don't care. You just say, I'm going to move this unit and I'm spending 1 CP when I begin this move so that you cannot Overwatch me.
So and you make sure you play it before you make the move, right?
Yes,
so you have to play it before you make the move.
Yes.
So you can't move it and then go. Cool. How does this impact a player playing against this then? So if you've got armies that are really good at Overwatch, like Tau or even like your Salamanders, how does that impact your gameplay? Does that put you off Overwatch?
No, I think you still have to set up the Overwatch to force the CP spend.
Okay, cool.
You just have to accept that you're not necessarily going to get to Overwatch. But it's very important to set it up. Otherwise, they get free CP to spend on sustained or
true, yeah.
So, the best we can do against an army that has fantastic stratagems is to make sure that we're forcing them to spend command points on all of those stratagems, so they can't have everything that they want go their way.
No, for sure.
Yeah, but setting up multiple Overwatches in different areas as well is important. So if they are planning to charge multiple units at once, then you at least have the opportunity to Overwatch in those other places. Naturally, this combines very well with the Lord of Deceit from an Archon, because you can make one area of the board 2 command points to Overwatch, and on the other area of the board, you simply can't be Overwatched. So there's a lot of manipulation here of what your opponent can actually do to react to you.
I mean, something that I've suffered on the tabletop, especially on the live stream, Jake, when I used the Solitaire with my Drukhari, he struggled as well being Overwatch because he's quite flimsy, isn't he? So he's very susceptible to Overwatch. So actually being able to use on a character like him is amazing, right?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Even when you've just got one model left from, like, if it's Jazar's, the last model left. And what I like also is the fallback. Often you might want to fall back and do something, and your opponent just goes, cool, I'm going to Overwatch you and you're dead. But now you can actually prevent that happening. The final stratagem, the Dance Macabre.
I like this name.
So it's 2 CP, but what it is when your opponent ends a normal advance fallback move within 9 inches of a Harlequin or Drukhari unit, you can reactive move D6. If the unit's faction is currently losing the wager, you move a flat 6.
This is good. I mean, reactive move is fantastic.
Yeah.
And then just jump back into a transport as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm glad this is 2 CP, because otherwise I think it would be just too good.
The thing is, though, I will say this on the other side of it, is we have got every single stratagem here is really good. So, I mean, having that at 1 CP, I mean, you can have the CP to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it depends. Like, there's so many choices here. I think this might be one of those detachments where you genuinely have decision fatigue.
Yeah.
Because of how many things you've got to try and think of to set up. Drukhari and Eldari armies already are a very mind-taxing army. So this detachment has some incredible enhancements, stratagems, detachment rule as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be a very, very tough army to play against, but also to command. But it's an exciting detachment like that, though.
Yes, and it's going to be incredibly rewarding for people that do take the time to learn this detachment, get those games in and the experience, because this is an army that can probably take on a lot of different things. I reckon this could compete in the meta. I think we'll see players that play Drukhari on the regular take up this detachment and go, cool, this is basically what Drukhari used to be. Harlequins players can now go, this is what Harlequins have always meant to be. I just have to run some Drukhari units as well.
Yeah.
But they're not complaining, they're Incubi.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Which are both cool models and excellent on the tabletop. So there's a huge amount of modelling opportunities here, and a huge amount of success to be had through learning the core fundamentals of the game and putting them to use through these fantastic stratagems and great setup through enhancements as well.
Yeah, honestly, I've been playing Drukhari for a short time now, but this has already taken my eye, and I'm already really can't wait to start making lists with this and putting models on the table and actually trying to improve as a player using this detachment. So no, thank you for going through that with me, Michael. And hopefully you guys at home are very excited for this detachment, especially you Drukhari players and Harlequin players. You've essentially got half a detachment. So it's really good that we can put them on the table as well. So thank you very much for watching. Let us know any combos or ideas you have in the comments below, and we will see you in the next video, which will be a list. So see you then.